Small scale figures. You know I love them, and today I have a perfect example to show you why.
Don't tell me that's all you've got. If it is, you better quit.
So before I start the review, I just wanted to let y'all see what Sasuke actually looks in the box. As we can see here at the very front, there's a window here where you can see inside and see what he looks like in there in the packaging before taking him out. At the bottom it just says some information. Obviously the manufacturer is Bandai, Manga Dimensions, Grandista, Naruto Shippuden. On the side you can just see another picture of Sasuke right there, which is very detailed, very elegant. It's actually the picture of the statue, or the figure in this case. Another side window right there. In the back, you know, full picture of the figure, and also different angles of Sasuke himself and behind him. Side again, there's a close-up of Sasuke, his face, his upper torso. Kind of a 3/4 look, angle, okay? And there's the front again. So yeah, I just wanted to show you all that before I actually take him out of the box. So here's Sasuke out of the box. Now, nowhere in the package or in the packaging, in the description of the item, does it say that this is a scale figure. But based on my experience and from different figures that I've had, or statues that I've had, I should say, I would assume that Sasuke here is a 6 scale figure. Now, just to give a quick comparison, here's Sasuke right next to Conan. Now, I know that Conan here is a 1/6 scale statue. So as you can see, they're pretty much similar in size, dimensions, etc. So yes, like I said before, I would assume that Sasuke here, even though there's no description or clarification on the scale, maybe he doesn't have a scale, but I would assume if he did, he'd be a 1/6 scale. So this Sasuke is actually from Bandai. Now Bandai makes tons and tons and tons of these figures that over the years I've seen they have become better and better and better. Now this series is called Manga Dimensions, which basically, as you can see, the paint job is made to look like it's straight out of the cartoon, the anime, from the manga itself. You know, different color palette here to make different shadows, different shadings, dimensions. Actually looks pretty much like a 3D figure. It actually looks like a cell taken from the anime, completely colored and all. At first glance, you would think that this is not a figure. You would think that it's a piece of art, an art print, something of that nature. This is my first Manga Dimensions figures I've ever gotten. And I did see it in person, and when I did see it, I was just blown away, and I knew that I had to have it. And the best thing about it, because it is a figure, not a statue, it is very, very, very inexpensive. And without a doubt, that's probably the best thing about small scale statues, figures, etc. Anybody can get them. They're extremely affordable, and you can build a huge, huge, huge collection just with these figures. And also remember, the smaller the figure, the more you can get, versus the opposite, larger figures take up a lot of space and cost a hell out of more money. But this being a small scale figure and this being inexpensive doesn't take away from the quality at all. But let's go ahead and get to the review of Sasuke here. Just a quick note, Bandai does create a lot of these figures like I mentioned before, but they don't have a base. Instead of a base, they have these, I guess, foot holders, placeholders, etc. Now they're kind of hit and miss, and Sasuke, yes, it is a hit, I would say, because it kind of blends in. You can't really tell, it doesn't take away from the figure. It's not a distraction, so I mean, great job on Sasuke here. But on a lot of the other figures that I have, and I'll show you one right now, sometimes these placeholders are kind of ridiculous. Let me show you. All right, so here we have Nami from One Piece, and she has the same thing, a foot holder, a placeholder. But as you can see, look at the size of that thing. Freaking huge. It's just an eyesore in my opinion. I wish they would have done something a little bit smaller, more of a low profile like Sasuke here. Or at the very least, make it a color that kind of blends in well with this figure. But if you ever considered collecting these Bandai figures, just know that more than likely you're gonna have one of these huge placeholders, foot holders, I don't know what you really want to call them, just to hold up the statue. Because like I said before, they don't have a base, which is a good thing, bad thing. Good thing, obviously no base, less stuff to work with, so a better price overall. Bad thing, obviously no base, this is what you gotta deal with. But with Sasuke here, very low profile and works very well. The pose here with Sasuke, obviously he's just standing here. It's a museum pose, not an action pose. You know, he's just standing here with his arms down. Nothing more to explain. Really, what really sells this figure is definitely the paint job. You know, we have his clothes in the anime. If you're familiar with them, you know, he has his, you know, ninja pants, So the sandals here moving up to his tunic, and then this big rope he wears around his waist with the gi right here on top. You know, so pretty self-explanatory. If you're familiar with it, great. If not, I just did it for you. Now, the outfit that he is wearing here is my favorite outfit from Sasuke from all time. Yes, throughout the series, he does wear different outfits, and this is actually my absolutely favorite outfit he's ever worn. Now, the pose and the outfit, of course, it is what it is, but what really gives this figure its appeal is the paint job. Manga dimensions. The paint job is just phenomenal. Like I said before, you know, it's not just painted one color with a couple of shadings, color variations, things like that. It's actually taken as if though it's an anime cell, cartoon cell, something taken straight out of the manga with, you know, hard edges, different colors, you know, where there's supposed to be folds and wrinkles, you know, those different shadings or different shadows. Very, very hard, you know, hard line. Obviously from one color to the next, no shadows, no shading, no blending, nothing of that nature. It's just very, you know, we have, for example, let's look at his tunic, or yeah. So we have blue going straight into a darker blue, going into a lighter blue. You know, there's no blendings, no shadows. And yes, at first it looks pretty badass, you know, honestly. And like I said, mentioned before, at first glance, it doesn't look like it's an actual figure. It looks like it's a piece of artwork. So as you can tell, I had to give mad respect and love to the paint job here. And yes, I will be collecting more of these. But despite the best quality being the paint job, that does not take away from the quality of the figure itself. You know, we have all this texture here. So yes, even though it is painted in different colors to make that texture come out, it is textured. So for example, the tunic does have, you know, these wrinkles, and they are layered. You know, the rope has all these different layers, as you can see. The pants down here, yes, you know, they have the wrinkles, they're the folds right there, you can feel them. So on top of not only the paint job complementing the sculpt and all the layers, it's a figure that's highly detailed. But moving on, they didn't spare any attention to detail, because right here, they didn't have to put it, and probably nobody would have really noticed. Hardcore fans would have, but we have his curse mark right here in the back of his neck. And that's the thing, in case you don't know, in the Naruto series, during this phase when he was wearing this outfit, he did have that curse mark. And of course, Sasuke's signature look is this spiky hair, almost kind of like a, well, in this figure, it kind of looks like a Sonic the Hedgehog kind of look. Just not as long, but yes, when you have short black hair, the long spiky bangs in the front, and his body right here. The body does have the texture work here. You know, you can actually feel the muscles right here, and the sculpt, the chest, the abs, etc. And in that as well, the paint job is done with different colors from light skin, dark skin, but that's not dark skin from him. It's just like, for example, the shadow of his gi right here. And the portrait is spot on. You know, does it look like Sasuke? Absolutely. You know, they hit it, and you know, even with his face as well, like I mentioned before, we have different shades of colors there, and it looks like an anime cell, but no, it's actually just painted in those different colors, those hard from light to dark. And it works very well. So overall, guys, I feel that this is an amazing figure, and the first one I've ever gotten as far as the manga dimension goes. Absolutely satisfied and happy with it. And like I mentioned before, it's a smaller figure, very inexpensive. And yes, because it's very inexpensive, I plan to get more of these. But I feel for beginner collectors, especially if you're into anime, this is an absolutely great way to start. And me being a seasoned collector, even though I consider this a great way to start collecting, doesn't take away the fact that I myself love this figure. And yes, like I mentioned before, I plan to continue to collect these. So just because I feel that they're a good way to start a collection, doesn't take away that they're any less quality. Again, smaller figures, less money, and that means you can collect a hell of a lot more. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this figure, my opinions about small scale figures. You know, do you have any? And how do you feel about collecting small scale figures against to larger scale figures? Or are you like me, where you have a variety of things? But I'd like to hear what you'd like to say. Leave your comments down below. Comment, like, subscribe, and as always, collect what makes you happy.
Watch out!